And my parents were very adamant it is a Halloween movie. And I'm like, okay, Christmas is in the title. This is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard, okay? And you all let my brother George watch those movies around me as a little kid at Christmas. If they counted as Christmas movies, Nightmare Before Christmas counts as Christmas movies. So hello there, my lovelies, my hearties, my soul squad. Welcome to another episode of Sitting Down with Soul Writer. During Soul Squad Sprinters, I'm actually sprinting during the last Friday night live stream that you will see here in this corner of our bedroom, apartment, whatever you want to call it, before we move to a much bigger bedroom, apartment, whatever you want to call it. So what has been going on with moi as of late? Well, I've been dealing with a lot of packing. I got really sick for a couple days and just had to focus only on life things. I've really dropped the ball on a lot of author things lately, but I'm hoping to take the next couple of days to catch up. I did promise you the 12 days of Vlogmas throughout the month of December for 2022, so let's go ahead and take care of number 4 and be 1/3 of the way through them instead of 1/4 of the way through them. The last time that we met up, and I keep checking my timer, so we'll just deal with it. The last time that I recorded one of these, I promised a top 5 list of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. Since I went ahead and unintentionally did my Ghibli list, let's go ahead and do something a little more thematically on topic for the season and do my top 5 favorite Christmas movies of all time. Now, I grew up as an 80s baby, 90s kid, so I grew up in an era where I think Christmas and holiday movies got a renaissance of sorts, because true, you had a lot of the old school cartoon stop animation claymation ones that were still being played routinely and therefore are some of my favorites, but you also have a lot of newer live action movies, and of course Hallmark, Lifetime, and other channels being what they are, that really revitalized everything as well. So what are my top 5 favorite Christmas movies? Starting of course at number 5. Well, this one was a little difficult to decide. I'm going to be really honest, because some people are going to argue with me that this does not technically count as a Christmas movie. It counts as an all holidays movie. And it would definitely have to be Guardians. That's the one where you have the origin story of Jack Frost. He teams up with the Sandman, the Easter Bunny, and Mafia Santa. Oh my god, that's like one of my favorite iterations of Santa Claus, is the big, tough, tattooed Santa from Legend of the Guardians. And I'm like, little did my little inner child heart know, that was the version of Santa I needed. I mean, I was born and raised in the hood partially, so it kind of makes sense if you consider downtown Baltimore a hood, which some people do, some people don't. For number 4, we're going to go ahead and slide in here, very much so, Charlie Brown. And some people are like, oh, Jenna, this is a boring list. Charlie Brown Christmas, come on. Yes, Charlie Brown Christmas. A lot of people do not realize how often that played throughout our childhoods, but for me, it was the symbolism of what that tree represented. Everyone really downed Charlie Brown for picking the scrawny, ugly, no one would buy it, last chance ditch effort tree, and he didn't give up hope on it. And still at the end, the story, regardless of what tree he and his friends were standing around, it was still a really good Christmas. Number 3. Some of you are going to say it is 1000% not fair that I went ahead and put technically 2 Jack Frost movies on this list. It's the fault of this one that I actually fell in love with the character of Jack Frost. So I'm talking about the original Rankin Bass stop claymation type Jack Frost animation from way back when. That movie is like my Christmas romantic guilty pleasure. I feel so horribly that Jack does not get the girl in the end every single time I watch it. And I don't therefore like what Santa Claus 3 many years later would go on to do with the character. Yes, I do like Jack as a mischief maker and a troublemaker, but not necessarily of the evil design. He very much is the inner heart of a child at Christmas to complement Santa's inner heart of a child at Christmas, in my opinion. And maybe it's why I liked the Guardians' take on Jack Frost's center being fun versus Santa's center being wonder and enjoyment of the world. Because really, truly, at the end of the day, that's where we adults strive to get back to, I think. Jack Frost is kind of a tragic, heartbreaking romance story, and the fact that you're kind of led on to believe that life immortality for him at the end of the claymation one just goes on without an eternal love to match. It was like, oh, my fangirl heart. It can't take no more. It can't take no more at all, at all, at all. So, number 2, a lot of people are going to say does not technically count as a Christmas movie, and I'm going to say Christmas is in the title. And so what if it combines 2 holidays into one? A lot of Christmas movies cover more than one holiday. It just so happens that this one doubles as a Halloween movie. Yes, I'm talking about A Nightmare Before Christmas. I would just make an excuse to watch that movie. I grew up in a household where you were only allowed to watch holiday movies around the holiday to which they pertained. So my parents did not believe in Christmas in July. No. Get out the Rudolph 4th of July special, sure. Or Charlie Brown or whatever similar company did a, holiday special for the 4th of July. You're okay to watch those. No Christmas in July growing up. So I would argue that I could watch Nightmare Before Christmas for Christmas. It was just not a Halloween movie. And my parents were very adamant it is a Halloween movie. And I'm like, okay, Christmas is in the title. This is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard, okay? And you all let my brother George watch those movies around me as a little kid at Christmas. If they counted as Christmas movies, Nightmare Before Christmas counts as Christmas movies. So, thank you, George. Thank you, big brother. You were a lifesaver and you didn't even realize it in that regard. And therefore, I think it goes without saying my number 1 favorite Christmas movie of all time. This makes total logical sense because I am the crazy cat mom. Garfield. The Christmas special for Garfield has been with me since I was a little kid. Now, to be fair, I have often been known to say it's either Garfield or A Year Without a Santa Claus, but since I already loved on the claymation movies a lot through Jack Frost and so on, I said, I gotta mention the Garfield movie here. When we first moved from Baltimore to Cumberland in 1995, things were rough. My parents could not find steady work. We were living on credit cards and food stamps, is my understanding at one point. Things were so bad. And no one would hire my parents because you're from out of town. You're from Baltimore. We don't want to make the long distance call to check your references, stuff like that. Where I live, it's very much who you know to get a job. And if you don't have family, you don't easily get into the Board of Ed, the local railroad, or the hospital. And I hate to admit, at least for the Board of Ed, it's still that way today. If to get us back on track. There was a line from the Garfield movie that in my little 8-year-old child heart that really got me through that Christmas, because things were so bad that Christmas that my parents didn't even want to put up a tree. I got probably one of my favorite presents of all time that year. My grandmother, my dad's mom, the only grandparent I knew as a little girl, passed away that year, and I was given one of her golden necklaces, one of her few golden necklaces, as my Christmas present that year. And very difficult for a kid in the 90s to go to school and deal with the bullying of being the kid from Baltimore. And you add on top of that of, kids were literally making fun of other kids for not having presents under the tree. And I just kept thinking in my head, according to Garfield, the most selfish kitty cat ever in media that cartoon could think of, if Garfield can say, and I quote, "It's not the giving, it's not the giving, it's the loving," then just rely on that. And many, 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 many years later, I grow up to become a wife who is married to a man that is obsessed with Christmas, because had he been born just a few hours earlier, I would have married a Christmas baby. My husband's birthday is the day after Christmas, and I gotta say, Cody, thank you for teaching me to love this holiday all over again. And now that I'm misty-eyed and crying for like the 20th time this week, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So what are some of your favorite Christmas movies? Let me know in the chat box comments below. I'm sure I missed a lot of really good ones because some got left off of my list too. Until next time, my dears, please, especially during this very hectic, very draining time of year, take care of yourself. I know you're worth it, and definitely blessings be. Bye.